From then on, when I was with a Buddhist patient, I was a sincere Buddhist. When I was with a Christian, a Christian. When I was with an atheist. I only needed to know...
Como Walt Whitman. Como Walt.
Yeah, whatever. And so I started, much like a doctor collects a kind of pharmacy or a kind of treatment, I collected ideas and things that helped address suffering. I already knew humor and love were the big ones. Wonder, curiosity, poetry, music, they were helpers of love and humor. Love and humor were the great masters. And so I started adding that more and more. I started carrying toys in the pockets of my doctor's gown, and let's go many years later, when I started to take clowns to very poor countries that had no pain medicine. I remember a time, this was holy like last night, only it was all in one instead of a room of 1,300 people. We were right after Estonia got its freedom from the Soviet Union. I said, let's go to a country who just gets its freedom so we can taste this feeling. It was after 2 weeks of working 10, 16 hours a day in hospitals of poverty where they have no medicine for pain. So when a child has bone cancer, they just scream in pain. They just scream in pain, and the mother sits there faithfully loving them and stroking them while they scream in pain. It was the last hospital of the trip. It's impossible to say the fullness and feeling of joy of spending 2 weeks to take suffering. Well, I went into the hospital. I saw this mother stand outside of the door, and I saw her crying, and I knew the clowning was not for her, but what was behind the door. I walked through that door, and this was 7, 8 years ago, and I remember exactly like it was a movie you're showing me. And there was a young boy, 6 years old, named Rido. I never even hear this name before. And 3 women around, because most doctors in those countries, poor countries, a lot of them are women because men want to make more money, which is why they go into medicine in America, because they make more money.
Claro.
So 3 women were around his table. This was a burn hospital. He had 80% of his body burned. The tiny little face had no burns, and everything down to his knees was 3rd-degree burns. If you haven't seen what that looks like, you cannot look at it. Your eyes are not prepared. I'm a doctor. I could see that he was covered everywhere, ears burnt off, horror, except for this beautiful, unburned little part of his face. He was screaming, blood-curdling screams, which is why his mother outside the door wept like Mary wept. It's so hard for a parent to see a child weep so. And they were getting ready to change the bandages, and if you're to live through this kind of burn, you must change the bandages frequently, clean it, because infection will kill you, because your skin is your protection. An hour and a half it would take, and we just went in at the beginning. So I knew that they were ready for an hour and a half of the worst possible screaming. But these women, they were focused. They were not... Most men, if they were in the room, would leave. They couldn't even take the screaming, much less be focused to change these bandages. And they knew they had to make pain, because when you clean a wound, you take scissors and you cut skin. You can imagine if I take your skin and cut it with no pain medicine, what that would make you do, scream. And this was Rido's every moment. And I'm standing there as a father of a child of the same age, a doctor way back in the back of a clown's costume, weeping, going, what can I do for this boy? I see that they don't even have money for gloves for sterile technique. And so I abandon my scientific training and I go up to the boys. They move away for some preparation. And so I walk over to the boy and I look down and I see his face, and it was his choice. I could have scared him, okay? But in this time with this boy, the boy looked up at me and said in Estonian, "You're beautiful." I am his. And I went around to the head of where he was being worked on. I don't know what I did for the next hour and a half. I stroke his head, and I say, "You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Oh,
you're going to live. You're beautiful. You're going to live. You are beautiful." He didn't understand what I was saying. You know, I could have been, to him it sounded like, what did I care? You're beautiful. You're going to live. For the next hour and 20 minutes, he did not let out one scream. We were taken to the fat part of the wedge. Can I tell you as a scientist, as a doctor, where we went? I don't have any idea. I can't make it. Love and humor make it. Like it made last night. I didn't make last night. Love took over, as it took over in that moment.
Usted fue instrumento del amor.
Exactly. Are those examples enough?
Bastan. Basta más que cualquier estudio científico.